true to who these guys are with their identities.
All right, we're going to go straight into picks and bans. Happy to see Zeri off the table. She's actually made it through a decent amount so far in the LPL. Has been played 13 times. We haven't had that many games so far, so getting picked up a decent amount will not be seen here today. We're going to be looking at some of the other AD carries, right? The Jinxes, the Aphelioses, especially when I look at OMG. Abel has really heavily been dependent on that Jinx pick for OMG to be able to pick up their wins.
Hey, JDG the same. Hope's most played, 5 games of the Jinx so far, 13.4 KDA worth noting. So outside of that, it's only the Jhin, the Ophelia. So I feel like this Jinx, you've hit the nail on the head, should be the first pick priority if OMG don't ban it away now.
Yeah, we're going to be looking at both Jinx and Corki because Hope has also been pretty much put on that Jinx 5 games on it, 1 on Jhin, 1 on the Ophelio. So I'm curious to see where JDG's priorities will go because if I'm OMG, maybe just leave both open. The fact that there's 2 obvious priority picks, which they do,
let's go.
They ban out to Veigar.
Okay.
And yeah, we're going to see JDG, do they go with the Corki or do they value the Jinx pick as both a takeaway and something Hope is comfortable on?
Another nail hit on the head then. You've already mentioned the Corki. Let's see, because again, big giveaways here. Missing on things like the Leona. We've got Cold on Nautilus, Thresh. There are support counterparts, partnerships that can be created here. Is right now the first 2 is no-brainer from JDG and OMG.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if they go Jinx Thresh or Jinx plus the Xin Zhao, because Xin Zhao's definitely been the go-to jungler. I think that's something that doesn't need to be said. 12.2 and 12.1, we've seen it a million times now. Both Aki and Kanavi have favored going towards this pick, but Colt has loved the Thresh, and I think Colt has performed pretty decently on it as well, so it would never be surprising to see, Thresh come out to give some mobility to the Jinx.
But instead, they're just like, nah, forget jungle, forget support. Cream back on the Orianna. Now, in the last series, we saw Cream pick this up 2 games. And surprised to see this so early on with what it gives away.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised as well, especially when you still have things like the Victor open as well. If you wanted to go for that scaling, Cream has played it way more. It's been way more prevalent in terms of the meta. If you wanted an aggressive option, you could have waited towards later as well, right? It's the Syndra open, the little block. It felt like there was a lot of ways you could have gone with it, so I'm curious to see how OMG go in this draft, because when you see an early Orianna, I would instantly think something like the Jarvan maybe to set up the ball. But for the fact that they already, JDG took away the Thresh, you wouldn't want a Jarvan in this situation. So instead, just going to be picking up the Tahm Kench for that bottom lane 2v2.
All right, well, 2v2s are set in stone, but no junglers here. So Lyric bans away, already start with some of the junglers that we can expect. Xin Zhao, something else we've talked about. I'm going through my list right here. Jarvan. And then we start going down to the A-tier junglers that on 12.2, I don't know why a big L was being held up. 12.2, haven't been looked at as much.
I'm more curious to see if JDG bans out top laners, right? Because there's so few junglers left in the pool. I feel like OMG, no matter what's banned, are guaranteed a pretty good selection. So JDG are going to go with that line of thinking. They're going to ban away some of the top laners that Shanji's best on. Gragas has been his most played so far. Sets up for those 5v5s, which, in my opinion, has been OMG's best area. Yep. We think back to last summer. The thing that amazed us was their coordination in those 5v5s. So Gragas off the table. Now I want to see if they keep indexing into that, right? Maybe something like a Rumble or like an Aatrox, which he's been a standout on.
Oh, yeah, I like the Rumble hover. The Rumble talk about, I should say. Because, yeah, Shanji, he's been playing Rumble in the top lane. Aki with a cheeky grin on his face as well as the Poppy disappears from sight. But that Xin Zhao still available that was mentioned before here. So let's see how they round it out. Hecarim as well, I've noticed, started coming back in the meta quite a lot.
Yeah, we've seen Hecarim pop up, especially as more and more champions have been pinched out of the pool. A bit surprised to see the amount of priority put on it by OMG here. Yeah. Though you are going up against a composition that wants to play at arm's length, right? You have the Aphelios, you have the Corki, so very easy time for Aki to get on the back line of JDG. You now have someone to carry the Orianna ball from Aki and set up some of these massive wobble combos that OMG been known to play for in the past.
But let's keep it running, because on the other side, JDG, like, nah, we don't want the Xin either. We're going straight towards the Viego, something that Kanavi has been 2-0 to start the split off, and 369 back on this cannon. So the champions that you and I were locking down in our opening segment have come into fruition. We're seeing a rinse and repeat here from JDG. And now for OMG, we just need that top laner. What do you run? You run a bow fight.
Wow.
So Shanji's like, nah, man, forget Rumble. I'm going to try and rock into this little rat.
I'm really surprised to see the Malphite come out against the Kennen. I feel like that is going to be such a rough time for Shanji in the top lane, but with the way that this draft has panned out, right, I feel like OMG must have had this decently pre-planned, right? Early rotation of the Orianna, you're waiting for the Hecarim later on, you're giving away the Thresh. So curious to see how OMG execute. I think their comp is very straightforward, right? Ton of big ultimates. If you can hit those, if you can get that front-to-back team fight, OMG should be feeling pretty good. JDG on the opposite side are the ones that I'm more worried about. You do have range to play off of, but the enemy does have a ton of engage, where you don't. You only have single target engage coming out from your Thresh.
Sure.
So it's going to be really relying on missing, hitting some of these death sentences.
Or even someone like 369, from what we've seen at the Shy and what we'll be talking about a little bit later as well. Those cannon flanks that create those angles. I think importantly enough for me, I'm looking at this and I'm now just realizing that for Shanji, this is his 11th unique played champion. And we're only at week number 5. And we're in a meta where people would say it is as stale as bread that's been out for 5 days straight. So seeing Shanji go into the champion pool even deeper, whether it's fun or not against the Kennen, is again talking up this top laner who we highlighted today going into 369. Let's run into it. It's OMG versus JDG. Both teams looking to get out from the middle of the LPL and start making a run. JDG, 3-2. They're on a 3-win streak here and they've regained their losses that they started to split off with, but for OMG, they're cooling off, pun intended. 4-4 at the moment, sitting dead middle with anyone's legend climbing up. OMG need to be extra careful here in the series. Feels like a must-win for them, running into the middle of week 5.
Yeah, in my mind, this series will kind of, I won't say cement, because I think it's very clear where OMG stand in terms of the LPL. They are like the middle tier team. You expect them to make it to playoffs. You expect them to maybe do like decently well, right? Maybe they pick up a series or two. So JDG are still the question mark for me. They might be sitting 3-2 right now, but we've seen them beat the bottom teams and we've seen them lose to the top teams. So their performance against OMG, I think, will be very telling. Where they stack up in terms of the LPL.
Yeah, started with LGD was their first win against FPX, which was notable. Don't worry about top guys, just a quick bit of trading before the lane starts. JDG, their latest win as well. So for JDG, WE, I should say. For JDG, those 3 wins, you're exactly right, against teams that we're questioning if they can make playoffs at this point, maybe bar FPX. But running into this game number 1, I mean, those questions will be answered. So welcome on in. Junglers starting on the bottom side here, Lyric. The Hecarim versus the Viego. Again, a big surprise. We didn't see anything like the Xin, the Jarvan, hovering away and moving to these more niche specialist junglers in 12.2.
And I don't expect to see too much come out from their jungler early on, right? You don't have too much set up in any of your lanes. Mid should play decently passively. I think 369 will obviously have pressure up in that top side early on, so it presents angles for Kanavi to look at. And then for bottom lane, once again, a bit of a wash. We do have Glacial Augment coming out for missing, though, so more opportunities, I think, for Kanavi to influence the map in terms of lane setup. To where Faraki, just going to be about once he does get online, maybe get some boots and look for those ganks with the ghost.
We're looking forward to it here. The Hecarim moving slightly up towards the top side of the map. You can see Kanavi doing the same thing. So junglers going about where you expect, and Cream just going to be dropping a ward there in case Kanavi gets tricky dicky here in this early game. I think importantly enough, though, as this laning phase starts out, you didn't talk about the pressure from 369. Shanji opted into this matchup. So it feels like OMG definitely have a big game plan here. Gonna pause. Oh, he's spotted out. Okay, great ward here from Cream. Forget what I'm saying, because now the mid laner has full information and gives it over to Arki.
Yeah, and not going to be able to do too much. Kanavi now going to walk into Aki, though.
Red buff actually secured here. Kanavi walking through still. Wants to go for the trade, but Arki turning back around. 369 on the way, but that's a low health bar with Kennen. Shanji hasn't moved yet, though. And Arki pops the ghost, runs on out, and Kanavi going to be taking Krugs from right under his nose.
So utilizing the fact that his top does have Cryo in that lane to at least put Aki a little bit behind. Also, something we didn't hit on is the fact that 369 did take Electrocute, so still going to be focused on his role of just bursting out the squishy backline as quick as possible. Also, still lets you get access to things like Ultimate Hunter, which are quite useful. Shanji's going to quickly get to a point where he will be able to just absorb the damage that 369 is putting out, so I think you know, the rune choice makes sense coming out from 369, who has been able to maintain pressure thus far.
Yeah, again, we talked about top lane matchup being a highlight here in this series. A pretty nice way to start. I'll be waiting for that 6 point because in draft you talked a lot about the ultimates hitting from OMG and how their comp wants to set up. Your faith even instilled a bit in OMG here in this game number 1 with their ease of execution. So early objectives, Lyric. It does feel like with Malphite, Orianna, Hecarim, I may as well say all champions on this team. It's easy to start pressuring that down in these early parts of the game.
Yeah, but we're going to see Kanavi going for a game.
It is flash for flash. Kanavi comes through and Shanji stands no chance. Summon a burn anyway, and Kanavi comes a knocking.
And let's remember, that was just a bit of disrespect coming out from Shanji. He had the ward in Tribrush. He knew that Kanavi was there. Seems like he thought he was close enough to his turret where he wasn't in harm's way. Didn't factor in that 369 would look for that flash to set up the CC for Kanavi to be able to come in and pick up the kill.
Well, it's a big win there. 369 might burn his flash, but Shanji without his teleport now to get back to lane. And the first blood on the Viego jungle too. So when that invade already happened, when Kanavi's already in a comfortable position for JDG, this is how they start the momentum. And again, another point you and I are talking about. JDG's early game at the moment, they're killed per minute. They're killed at 15. Like 5, isn't it, Lyric? It's like 4.7.
Yeah, it's something up there. It's pretty high. It's first in terms of the LPL since they have brought Hope into the lineup. And I think for their composition, you definitely want to see them starting to get ahead early from the I'd say, lack of tools they have in comparison to OMG's composition later on. So early skirmishing is going to be the name of the game for JDG. Getting off, missing out on the map like he's doing now and trying to find some of these picks. So I think JDG, pretty clear understanding of how they need to win this game with the draft that they brought for themselves.
So as Kanavi comes back in the mid lane, we're going to see if he can force another flash onto Kareem. Half HP, burns a corrupting and walks back to his turret, but now Kanavi spotted out. We'll be heading back towards the bottom lane. So Lyric, let's come back. I wanted to ask you a little bit about the competition for Kanavi. So rudely interrupted me. Malphite's slapping away. Am I going to get a chance?
He might get dope.
Yeah, you might. 369 doesn't have ulti slicing maelstrom needed here, but Shanji gets his first. The rock into melee range as Yagao almost solo kills Cream. The Orianna's to back away, and for all sides of the map, we got action. As even Cold moves up with Abel. Lyric, 369 got plundered.
Yeah, 369 getting punished. We're going to see what happens in the bot lane, though. Nice job from OMG's bot lane, forcing out the flash from Hope with the engage coming out from Cold. So overall, OMG winning on both sides of the map. Sure, Cream got chunked out. Seems like he is losing a little bit of the wave, but still does have his summoners up.
Well, at least Hope's going to be able to get a response.
One summoner.
Yeah, one summoner less of remaining here on the 80 carry. Hope, as I was saying, we'll be able to get this turret, though. At least 2 plates, I should say. So even though OMG were able to make a play towards the top side and bottom side force the flash to get a bit of lane presence, the bottom lane now dealing with an Aphelios that just got 320 gold.
And Aphelios that's sitting on Newton Quiver in comparison to a Cull and a Longsword on the opposite side. So, you know, JDG's bot lane wanting to play aggressive and press this advantage. Though right now, Kanavi will actually be pathing up towards the top side, so it seems like wanting to cover 369, maybe even try and find a gank on Shanji, because it looks like 369 right now holding the wave towards this side of the lane.
Hammer up there in a second, guys. For now, point out that you'd be feeling pretty safe if you're 369 at the moment too. No matter what state the wave's in, the deep control wards in the enemy blue side jungle. Kanavi even knowing that Aki is bot side, so Kanavi can come up here. They're almost level 6. Viego going to spot out Shanji here, who doesn't have the ultimate quite up and available. Bullies him out, and now the massive wave you're talking about, Lyric, that's crashing in.
And this is really nice as well, because we've seen Yagao pressuring in the mid lane, so he doesn't even need to fully commit up top side if Shanji's playing like this and they can't spot him. Just Yagao hovering in Fog of War is enough for Shanji to know he is being denied CS. Yeah. And now for the side of JDG, looks like Kanavi's just going to outright start the Rift Herald. Aki's making his way up towards the top side now.
When was the last time you saw Herald just being snuck by one person? We don't see it anymore. The whole team rotates up. We see 3v3.
Oh, they're coming to Sarix.
4v4.
They're coming. Look at Abel.
Okay, maybe I spoke too soon. Aki Cream together for now. Shanji, the pings are going down from JDG because they're like, well, Malphite's not here. There's no Rock ultimate, and Kanavi as well is picking up 6, picks up the Herald. And for JDG this early game, netting them a gold lead, netting them a really good piece of momentum that we've been talking about leading into this game itself.
JDG's early game has been on point. Yagao still having the package. I'm kind of surprised that JDG didn't want to try to just instantly look towards that bottom side, maybe pick up an early dragon, try and force out a team fight. They do need to be a little bit respectful in terms of Shanji's ultimate being back up. OMG definitely have the setup for that wombo combo that we hit on earlier, but Yagao just feels so strong right now. Even picking up the Hex Drinker, making it even harder for Cream to deal any meaningful damage onto him.
I have a bit of a juggler tip in a second, though. I'm going to hold. Now he's spotted on a ward, trying to move back mid, but that package, that wasn't used. So even though it was used for the Herald pressure coming through, doesn't mean too much in the end. Lyric, Aki's in the top side jungle for now. Kanavi is getting pretty sick of this horse trying to run around him, so I guess he's just going to go somewhere else and try and trade this off for maybe another objective.
Yeah, I definitely expect JDG to start this one up. We can already see their bot lane here on our screens. 369 was playing pretty respectfully in that top side, not walking too far forward to show himself on the wave to set up for another dive coming out from Aki. So it looks like JDG should be able to get this one unanswered on the opposite side of the map. And yeah, despite the fact that the gold's only about 400 to 500 in the favor of JDG, they still have had full map control this whole time. You specifically citing those control wards on the bottom half of the map.
I mean, it's good vision that set JDG up for this early game. I want to come back to, you know, what's going to be happening from here on, because again, with Dragon up in 440, another Herald up around the same time, we are going to see level 10, level 11 carries here with those big ultimates that we highlighted. Run me through OMG's game plan at this point when you know you're going to be down about 1,500 gold due to the Herald pushing in, and what you kind of look out for with the next couple of dragons.
I think for the side of OMG, you can try and look up towards top lane once again, right? Because you just have that easy setup coming out from Shanji to see if you can find a pick on 369. Shanji did get the wave pushed completely, so it will bounce back to Shanji, and that could be your avenue to set up a gank, as well as Aki's camps responding up towards that top side, so he should naturally just, you know, end up there.
Okay, well, top side it is, because there's a Hextech Alternator on the Malphite. Shanji is going AP Malphite, guys, and that's what you love to see. Even the Shy wouldn't do that. You know, that's when you know something special about this guy. Is Kanavi rolling in, but cold shadowing again. There's a Herald to place, and it's running out of time.
Yeah, for the side of JDG, it does look like they want to put this one down towards mid lane. They're just going to drop it right now. So get some gold on themselves. They're even rotating Pope up just in case a skirmish breaks out. As Aki's looking for one.
Missing's actually gone in. The hook angled, not for Aki, but for Cold, as Kanavi's pinching him as Aki is now in the river, but against Hope he has none. Missing will take that kill from under his nose as the Herald charges, and JDG striking fast once again.
Really nice setup by JDG as well, right? They move a few members towards the mid lane, drop the Herald. They realize that OMG are probably going to be looking for an engage for themselves. Hope had just pushed in the wave, so it allowed him to start moving early to find that kill and just maintain this map pressure.
Eric, things are looking good right now for JDG, the team that are on a win streak. I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about their comp and why you thought, you know, in draft, you talked about OMG being easy to execute here. We're at 12 minutes, JDG are kind of running the map a bit. And even though it's pretty stagnant with only 3 kills, what I'm saying doesn't matter. Shanji's in a lot of trouble. 2-man knock up here. Aki wants to combo it in, but the slicing Maelstrom makes it impossible to get nearby. The Heartbreaker for Kanavi immediately flashes out. Yagao's now in 1v3 because his team's not there. The Hexdrinker helping out, but the Shockwave hits too. Now Missing's in for the Dark Passage. And that was just weird. JDG's still weird, but Kanavi, literally like a 4-year-old with a biscuit that just found a new lollipop.
Yeah, and I also love how you can just see how depressingly low Cream's damage is at this point in the game, especially with Yagao having that MR, right? Because the Shockwave hit, it really did nothing to Yagao. Cream is going to be able to look like chip the mid turret just a little bit. Should be able to push in this wave as well. We're going to jump right into the replay of what happens. Kanavi wanting to go on Shanji. The combo does come out, Cream not here yet, so no real damage between them. There's the 4-year-old with the biscuit you're talking about. Yagao, though, sees an opportunity, jumps in. Keep your eye on Cream's Shockwave because, bam, it doesn't do absolutely anything. And, yeah, that was
fun. That
was pretty random.
Yeah, that was random. It was incredibly random. And for audience members who aren't quite sure, Kanavi did this quite recently, and even last split. The decision-making and the dedication to go in on a play after ulting in, specifically with Viega, has been seen many times before. So Always pleases me when I see Kanavi go in, flush out immediately, regretting his decision. But hey, still a win for JDG, still in with the gold lead here in this game. Dragon's coming up in a minute and Herald in about 30 seconds. So I'm going to be watching Kanavi a little bit more. And Lyric, I'm tracking those ultis that we just saw in the skirmish, almost back up and available to see these fights around the neutrals.
Yeah, I'm going to be keeping my eyes on these ultimates as well, especially coming from Shanji, because we haven't seen this build yet in the LPL. Even the AP builds I have seen a little bit in solo queue have mostly been Everfrost on Malphite. Yeah. But I'm guessing he's probably going towards a Night Harvester. I don't think Rocket Belt makes much sense. You shouldn't need another tool to close the distance. Yeah. So we're going to ult in, get as much burst damage.
And speaking of burst, Cream is dead. Kanavi helping that one out once again, dude. Really unlocked in this early game, and Cream getting caught out means death to Dragon, death to the Herald play, maybe even mid-turret too.
Yeah, Kanavi's just been so active, and not even just Kanavi, right? You look now making it towards mid. 369 hovering around, looks like might be taking blue, but one of the big question marks for JDG we had, right, was how they could bring it together as a team, how they could transfer pressure from lane to lane, and it not just be so sporadic. We've seen hints and elements of the sporadic play from JDG, but I think they've been bringing it together a lot better than what we've seen from some of their past series.
Which is good. What should be expected? JDG are an LPL champion. And the funny thing is, okay, we don't have the bottom lane, we don't have Loken and Lunao anymore, but your Gal Kanavi is still there. And 369 himself is also a domestic champion, so it's nice to see JDG kind of bringing this element of control back into their gameplay. Now, OMG do get a turret on the top side, guys. But on the other side, JDG were able to get the Dragon. I believe the Herald was also picked up, if my eyes didn't deceive me. Was actually Aki who got that. So for OMG, a little bit of retribution here, but they're going to deal with the fact that JDG is still 2,000 gold up at 15 minutes. And when JDG are up in gold in the early game, Lyric, they do pretty well at closing it out.
I have a lot of faith in JDG in terms of how they've been playing this out, right? They already have 2 dragons stacked up, so they have an easy time of trying to threaten Soul Point. You have a lot of AP coming out on the opposite side, and that was wrong. It wasn't Night Harvester. You actually did go for the Rocket Belt, so Shanji gonna look to close some distance. Guarantee he hits that ultimate onto Hope or Yagao, so they can try and win out in those team fights. For JDG, you expect to see some type of early MR stacking coming through. That's why I feel like the Hex Drinker buy for Yagao does make a lot of sense. And that's going to be my question mark for OMG in these fights, right? Even if they do hit the Wombo, do they have the damage to finish key targets?
Right. Going the last play, it was a little bit early on. Cream still without that ultimate. Excuse me, that first item. That was Hope's ulti that actually flies through the sky, and the Herald giving OMG the chance to open up the mid lane. Shanji threatening here, and I'm ready to see that Proto Belt force a couple of flashes from JDG. It's a level 11 Malphite too, so expect that cooldown to be a bit shorter. There's no Dragon, there's no Herald / Baron. We're A-ramming a little bit for now, while 369 is having a lover's quarrel with the minions in the bottom lane.
369 did hover over when the Rift Herald was being dropped, and it looked like he was trying to see if there was a flank angle possible. Ended up not going for it, but speaking of flank angles...
Yeah, this ping's going down. They know Aki's there. Missing is going to face check for now. The death sentence onto a different target. It's Shanji, but playing him in, brings him closer, but it's the bait! No, the Rocket Belt used out with Cold saving his life. And the Malphite was not solid, more like a limp disc at that point. As Kanavi ready to go over, he flashes into 4 people. The Slicing Maelstrom follows up. Fork in the toaster, and you're dead. Kanavi in once again, stolen as the Tahm Kench. And JDG 7-1. The early game now definitely under their wing.
I don't know why OMG are feeling so pressured to try to make something happen, right? Looking for the aggressive Vayne in the bot side jungle when there's no objective up. Like, maybe you're looking to steal some camps, but even then, you spot that their Raptors are not up. So, yeah, for OMG, I feel like they're feeling way too pressured to make something happen. They just got a mid lane turret, could have easily backed off, but we're going to go straight into the replay here. Aki was looking for this pickoff into Missing able to get out scot-free. Shanji being like, hey, I'm already committed. I think he would have gone down anyway. Tries to find an angle for the ultimate. Isn't able to do so. 369 was already on his way. And Missing, not able to follow the flash, but Kanavi making sure he can keep things going by committing his own flash, setting up for 369 to find this massive Slicing Maelstrom.
Beautiful to see as well. Cleans up from 369 as we expected here in the top lane matchup highlight. 369 now 1-1-4, but this guy's Proto Belt looking a little bit more spicier than Shanji's. I also want to point out, nice Gale Force from Hope. He got out of the way of the Unstoppable Force simply by pressing his own button. So, beautiful timing to see. JDG now well and truly controlling this early game, as stated before. 4,000 gold and then some. 2 dragons with another on the way in a minute. Baron's there in a minute too, Lyric. Walk me through the state of the game, because we got a bit of item difference now building up for JDG. And those ultis that aren't on cooldown anymore either.
Oh, I think for JDG, they have such an easy way forward from the fact that on top of that they're ahead, right? And the composition definitely does incredibly well in team fights, coming out from Kennen, Yagao, just being able to poke people out and trying to put more pressure on OMG to find the engage. But they also should be able to control sides. We know 369 has been able to push out against the Malphite all game long. Corki with having the Valkyrie is safer in a side lane than Cream on the opposite side. So we're going to see them answer these side waves right now. Maybe Yagao will have to commit a flash if OMG are very decisive on trying to press the issue on this dragon. But it looks like for JDG, they actually might just commit to a gold trade. They might say, hey, we don't care about the dragon right now. We're going to keep ballooning this gold lead.
Which is going to be insane, because for Yagao, he's 2 items strong just about. That Ludens is on the way. That's a 303 Corki, guys. And we know enough about Corki now in the meta, and we always do. The champion's not too complex. That Yagao with his solo turret gold on the top side, with all the minions he's achieved, that's going to be a second item well and truly on the way. And Lyric, I'm pretty sure Package is coming up with the TP too. Is he stopping? Yes, he's going to have Package. As Dragon's being done, it's OMG who started off, get yet another objective bounty, but Arky caught out here. Yagao with the Package over the wall. He'll line Arky down and burst into the high heavens. Horse can't run too far when he's hit by a Pelican.
No, JDG, they get the package, like you say, that they find an opportunity, they go for the kill. Sadly, though, they weren't able to get the dragon. Neither jungler getting a smite off actually was able, who secured that one for the side of OMG. And now for JDG, looks like since they have a wave down in bot side, they want to commit to trying to get a bit more gold injection by taking this bot side turret. Then you could expect them to start transitioning up towards that top side to get some vision control for Baron.
That tier 2 turrets, 233 each. I'm scared of Corki. I'm scared of Yagao, who's been funneled this game. And, you know, when you and I were coming in and we're talking about JDG in this series, we talked about JDG's resurgence. We talked about, you know, how the team is with Hope. Yagao's always been that stable mid laner, and it's nice to see that Kanavi syncing up with him in this game has been so clean. And our end result is seeing that JDG have never really relinquished control or lost anything from the minute this game started.
Yeah, and when we hit on Yagao specifically, right, Yagao's always been the type of player in my mind who has been able to keep a very solid, effective champion pool. And by that, I mean, he's not a player like Knight, who you can just expect to pull out something that, you know, he doesn't play all that much and just pop off on it. He has his, like, 4 to 5 champions every split where you know he will be able to have an impact. So Corki definitely being that one. This time around, Yagao having a very good handle on the meta. Yagao, Corki Victor almost every single game.
True.
And for JDG, it's working.
Again, good to see. JDG needed something. They needed some of that consistency to come back, and Yagao highlighted on the left side of your screen, along with 369. I hope you can see that, English audience. Yagao currently sitting at 40% of his team's damage share and a 2k gold difference over Creme de la Creme. So even though there's 2 items on the Orianna, think nothing of it when Yagao goes back and upgrades that Hex Drink, and when he has 3 items, he is well and truly in control of this mid lane matchup. Another hype matchup that we talked about coming into today.
Yeah, game has stalled a little bit. JDG are 5k ahead, so they're not really feeling too uncomfortable.
Good or bad? Good or bad here for OMG?
Oh, for OMG, it's good, right? I mean, if the pace of the game isn't accelerating, then OMG, you're happy. Because if the game was accelerating at the pace it was going before, you would quickly be getting stopped within 26 minutes, but getting some breathing room to try and buy some items. Now the Zanya's coming out for Shanji, so we'll be able to ult in quickly. Zanya's, maybe it buys time for the rest of his team to follow up.
Oh, shockwave.
Nice dodge.
Yeah, Kanavi having to burn his own ultimate. Arky does get the Scuttle Crab on the way out. But at least for OMG, trading some ultis here is going to be worthwhile for the time being. They sit towards mid Lyric, around that Baron, which, remember again, objective bounties in the game with OMG being down 5,000 gold. Hovering around for the potential pick, and missing might be it. Shanji hitting him away. The AP Malphite ults back in, solid as ever, and gets himself out. And that's finally the look we wanted to see out of the Rock in the top lane.
I just think that was so weird from missing to contest so hard, right? Walks in. He's tanking every ability coming out from OMG to seem to set up the pick. I like that JDG was starting it off slow because I feel like the way for JDG to contest with OMG's visitor control and get into River is by having Yagao get here, poke down with the rockets, force OMG off the objective, and then find your time to walk in. So JDG getting a little bit too ahead of themselves in that moment, and by JDG I mean missing specifically, allowed for Shanji to find the ult and get the kill. Which I noticed, even in that circumstance, right, his ult didn't hit for all that much. I still do have a bit of a damage question for OMG, but with the fact that they're getting towards 3 items, I mean, you have a Jinx, you have an Orianna, you know they're going to be able to start hitting hard.
Yeah. I mean, again, we're waiting for that third item to come through. On your note as well, about Shanji, you know, when we get that third item for him too, Luke, that's going to be a big part. AP Malphite being able to one-shot people like Poke. If he doesn't Gale Force away, even 369 pre-ulti.
I'm just kind of curious that he went for Zhonya's when it feels like that's his goal, right? It feels like when you're picking AP Malphite in this composition, your goal is to get off your one ultimate, hope it does as much damage as possible, and it sets up for the rest of your team.
Like a Void Staff kind of angle or something, right? Or
yeah, you're not really the type of champion where you want Zhonya's, because Zhonya's allows you to get off a second rotation of your spells. What does a second rotation of Malphite spells really do? Yeah,
a Malphite Q. No, I get what you're saying, and especially since the Malphites we've seen in LPL, right? We've even seen things
all
like
tanks
so far, and so for AP Malphite, a bit of a risk here in game number 1 from Shanji, but risk is in it. As 369 with the angle, beautiful Yagao's package. OMG, I can see this happening. Doesn't look too good. Slicing Maelstrom, but Shanji ults into it. He burns. The Zhonya's gives him a chance to die slower. JDG in that blast code. Oh my god, who hit that blast code? Archie! Now he's dead too. It's a disaster!
It is a complete wipe for the side of JDG. They're going to be able to control these waves, start making their way towards that Baron. And man, Yagao might even just be able to keep pushing down this bot and get an inhibitor turret as well.
Oh my god, that was just so shocking. Well, Lyric, GG.
I don't know how we pose this question. Do we say what has happened to JDG as of late, or do we say what's happened to OMG? I feel like both are. I feel like both are true.
Oh yeah.
JDG have looked so cracked recently, and OMG have not.
They weren't putting 2 and 2 together when they started the split. When they ended last year's split as well. In 2021, JDG, excuse me, couldn't make plays like this as successful. But it's like OMG walked into the bear trap. And JDG says, thank you for it.
Yeah, Yagao getting so much value off that rocket and off the package as well. Sets up for Cream to go down. We saw 369 with amazing ultimate there.
Oh my god. Sub out Arky. Sub him out. Who's the sub jungler for OMG?
That is rough, buddy.
Oh my god. That's unacceptable. Lyric. And now I'm looking. They don't have a sub jungler. Well, Mercuria is going to be jungling for the first time today.
Also just a small note. Another small MVP of that play was the fact of that JDG do have control of sides, right? Because it's set up for the perfect flank angle to come in for 369 to find that amazing slicing Maelstrom. So overall, JDG's prep work in terms of setting up the map for that fight was also very beautiful. Now they're doing a good job of trying to find picks around top side, deny OMG some vision. But with the fact that 369 was spot, OMG are able to contest. Now, are they going to find it?
Oh, he's going to walk in. Shanji's ulti again doesn't do too much. It's actually Arky doing the majority here. The Corki in a 1v2 scenario, but it makes 3 with Cold there as well. Big shutdown on the 616 Corki. JDG might slow down the Baron push, and at least OMG gets something when they threw it all away moments ago.
My only guess of what Yagao's thought process was there was the fact that the bot lane was mid in that 369 was rotating over, that he maybe thought the members would have to go back mid to answer the push coming out from the rest of JDG, because of course he knows that Kanavi had just spotted them out in that quadrant of the jungle seconds before.
Lyric, well, either way, is it going to matter too much for JDG? I think the short answer is no. It's still a 9k gold lead, just about there. Soul points coming up. 2 minutes, 20 seconds. JDG have the option of an Ocean Soul this game. Their Baron power play is not big, folks, but remember, JDG hold all the cards in this game and felt like that even before the massive fight we witnessed down at the Last Dragon. OMG was slipping away. It was 5,500. And at this point, we want to see how JDG closed it out. Lyric coming through here. We've got 3 items on the board as well. And JDG, with the remainder of their Baron, we're going to just try and push this inner turret on the top side, open up the map a little bit more before we get to that final objective fight, which I'm sure they want desperately again.
Yeah, they got to be a little bit careful, right? Because all of OMG's ultimates are back up. The good thing for them is both of OMG's carries do not have flash right now, so if OMG do overcommit for an engage, JDG are definitely in position to take it. Sure, Hope might not have his flash as well. We've seen Hope mechanically on point with that Gale Force to dodge any of the engages that can come out from the side of OMG.
Good point. Again, the Malphite ulti that we saw. I think we've started this series off in a very good way when JDG fans can start coming back to the surface. We're 13-3. We've seen an exceptional early game. And you and I love how we focused on top. And this first game, weirdly enough, has been about top lane plays within the team fight. Remember when you said that these top laners, they don't act like other top laners in the league. It's 369's Jason Arky. The horse is... Hang on.
He's fine.
He's leading us
He's
on
got
the
Force
chase.
of Nature.
Lyric. There's a Kennen here, and Kennen stuns and has Proto Belt. When you say he's fine, I wonder, even with Ghost and the Flay coming through, not that fine. Now, it is about top laners and what they can do. OMG is sending theirs with the rest of them through mid. Objective bounties, that's a lot of gold.
Yeah, that kind of ended up being worth for the side of OMG, though Ox is going to come up at the same time as Dragon, so you're pretty much guaranteed soul for the side of JDG. I also want to point out, Hysterics, he could have lived.
Okay.
Had he ulted earlier, had he ghosted, you know, not allowed for 369 to be close enough to get the range on him.
You can understand my skepticism after casting on the other day and seeing a 1-6 Tahm Kench and now seeing Arky on a 2-6 Hecarim. No discredit there, but Arky has been in the mud a lot this game.
Yeah, he's not been able to perform, and it's going to allow for the soul. I mean, right, we're at a point where we can call a spade a spade. It's a 9k gold lead in soul for the side of JDG. This is JDG's game to lose, and how they lose it. I mean, hitting your combo at this point is already hard as it is. Hope has flash and heal up. We've hit on the Gale Force. Yagao's an extremely mobile champion. I feel like even just hitting step 1 of your game plan as OMG can be quite hard, and you're kind of relying on picks, which means you're kind of relying on someone from JDG to step a bit too far forward.
It could be missing. Done it before as Cold walks into the bush. Look at the rest of OMG. Hovering in that top side brush we saw moments ago. It's Shanji and Arky together, both with ultimates available. I guess Shockwave would kind of hurt as well if that could land. There's always the massive if at this point, and everything coming in conjunction together. Cream now has the Void stuff in his inventory too, so a bit of damage there, but again, you're right. Let's call a spade. It's done, diddly done for OMG. Unless they get a big Baron still here, get their carries to some of those big items we talked about. 25 seconds of Baron Lyric, and it feels like that's the way that JDG can break open this base and force OMG into them to end this game 1.
You know, at this point, I'm just kind of on item watch for Shanji. I want to see what he's building into next. Obviously, he has Fiendish Codex and the Banshee's Veil. So it kind of, it kind of makes you think if they're going to do that, right? The No Magic Mantle and Fiendish Codex. Okay. But, you know, again, I can't see what he's seeing, right? Because you take that, well, you're having a standoff against a Corki, so he can very easily just pop that with 1 rocket, and then you're in the same position you were in regardless. So we're going to see now. He is backing. We should be able to come out with some sort of item. He did it!
Okay. Very, very defensive for an AP Malphite, I will say. You know, without criticism aligned with this Lyric, you know, you and I were just talking about the tank Malphites we've seen in the LPL. AP is not what you expect. You expect AP rocket to come through. Absolutely blast you.
Oh, and well, there, 369 just queued him and procced his Banshees.
Okay, so Banshee's gone for the next 35 seconds, and JDG walking up the mid lane with an Ocean Soul. And they've got a Baron to move to as well, so they're going to do that now while OMG group is 5.
You know, he at least does have MR, right? And you are facing a double AP composition on the side of JDG. And JDG very clearly wanting to find a fight. Yagao going to try and put as much poke as possible.
Arky needs to get on in there with an ulti. Will he be early? They're going to 50-50. Kanavi, be careful. They're still taking it down. Arky wants to go in, but it's way too late. They still want to go 50-50.
That hurts now.
Shanji, yeah. actually does the damage. Down to missing in the back line. He's separated. OMG picked up too, but Kanavi on Reset City, even in the rest of the team. Will it matter? Onto Cream, saved by Cold. The jungler, an absolute behemoth. The raid boss, ready for another reset as he goes into GA. The knockup, not relevant because Gale goes golden and Hope comes in with the Gale Force. Cold running for his life. And even though JDG was separated, Kanavi became king of the jungle again.
Man, Kanavi played that fight so well. Saw the opportunity to ult in, flashes forward and continues it. And now JDG seem like they just want to look to pick up some inhibitors. Might be able to get more kills at the end.
Yeah, Arky goes to get on out. Yagao flashes to that one, gets close, but this will be the turning circle. Ladies and gentlemen, JDG, as they run through mid. This game, from start to finish, has been a line of dominance, exposing OMG. And JDG with their 3-win streak in game number 1 are going to keep it rolling on strong. Arky running away from the turret here as Abel stands to wither with the rest of his team. What can Arky do? He's already died 6 times. 369 sending him away. And now as they walk on up, Abel going to get hit in the face. He gets a shutdown with it too, but Kanavi still lives, and that's the problem. 369 with another beautiful ultimate, and JDG with a beautiful game number 1.
Kanavi especially, the way, I mean, he was everywhere on the map in the early game, right? We were constantly like, oh my god, Kanavi's skirmishing here, Kanavi's doing this, what's going on? And then in that last fight, like I said, he bought so much time